When you feel gratitude, you can't feel any other emotion. And the best time to do gratitude is first thing in the morning. And even better is closing your night with gratitude, because what it does to your mind is while you sleep, you're in that state of gratitude and you wake up with gratitude. No. Ooh, that's better, right, babe?
Yeah!
Yeah. She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids,
and everything in between.
The more you practice the art of gratitude, the more you'll have to be grateful for. Quote by Norman Vincent Peale. The best Christmas gift is to realize how much you already have.
Welcome to the Pretty and Punk Podcast. My name is Dan Caldwell, and I'm here with my beautiful wife,
Ildiko Ferenczi.
And we have an important subject. We're getting really close to Christmas, and we were just talking about what do we want to do on this podcast, and we wanted to do something about Christmas or presents, but you know what? We know that there's so many people struggling right now, so many people that are going through different things, and the economy's kind of up and down, and they're trying to figure things out, but they're going through so much, and it's just a time that we all need to find and be grateful and have gratitude, because when you have gratitude, it's hard to complain. And before we get into the full podcast, hey guys, we hope you're enjoying today's episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. And if you are, and you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, it just takes a second. It means so much to us because it really helps the podcast get out there to more listeners like you guys. And if you know anybody it might help and you can send it to them, we really appreciate that too.
We also love and appreciate your reviews. Even the babies look forward to them every day. If you share this episode on social media today, don't forget to tag us. We want to celebrate you because we know it's not easy being a parent in business, and the way that you juggle things makes you a superhero. That's worth a shout out. Together, we have a community of our personal followers as well, and we just want to put it out there. We want to show everybody that this juggle is possible, and you are our family, and we're so proud and grateful to have you a part of this family. So don't forget, all the links are below in the show notes. And thank you again, and let's get back to the show. When you feel gratitude, you can't feel any other emotion. And the best time to do gratitude is first thing in the morning. And even better is closing your night with gratitude, because what it does to your mind is while you sleep, you're in that state of gratitude and you wake up with gratitude. So it just cycles you through the day. So that's why I feel that we do our prayers and our gratitude in the morning, and then at night we close with the prayers.
And when we say we do this, we actually do it. You know, sometimes I feel like when I'm watching people speak about certain subjects, I feel like they're saying it, but they really don't do it.
Right.
Like I heard somebody yesterday saying when he's in the shower, he speaks about something, a certain subject, and he speaks to himself and to motivate himself. And I just, a little piece of me said, you know what,
Maybe
I'm not sure I believe he actually does that.
Right. We never miss a day.
We never miss a day.
Never, ever, 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 ever.
And because not just because part of it is for us. Like, we need to say it out loud. We need to feel that, because the truth is, it's always, we're up and down too. We go through stuff too. And there's a lot of things going on in our family. And sometimes you can't just be grateful when you're up.
Right.
You have to find ways to be grateful when you're down.
Can I add to that? I feel you need to be so strong with your gratitude routine. And for me, my gratitude journey, I would pray, but I wouldn't really focus on it. But when I was blessed with that baby, with Daniel, I started speaking gratitude and strength into him and love. But every day I would be so grateful and pray. And that routine was so strong. And it needs to be so strong in your life that you are able to lean into it when your life is falling apart.
Well, that's why I think, to me, like, I know you went to that moment, but for me, I think what was compelling and what was more important was the time when you went through surgery and seeing how grateful you were coming out of that surgery, but not only because you really were still like in a state of, you weren't perfect. You weren't great coming out of that surgery. And I know I hate to take you to that moment. I'm sorry, but I just, like, to me, to see the gratitude that you had coming out of the surgery, not only because the surgery went well for the moment, but just knowing that everything was against you at that time. I mean, I can remember before we went to the doctor's office, you literally, you were broken, and you didn't want to go to the hospital because you knew it was the level of surgery. It's a surgery, it's an 8-9 hour surgery that you don't come out of. That people don't live through.
They kept telling me that I might not make it through. And I'm just crying, not because I'm sad. I'm so happy. I actually spent last night till 5 a.m. looking at pictures of me with the babies. And I looked so happy. If you didn't know the battle that we were fighting as a family, and the kids, they knew, but they weren't worried. And I remember the morning that we said I was going to go down there. I was going to do an alternative treatment, and I wasn't going to go in for surgery. And we'll talk about the whole journey another time. But there was something said, and I just said, I don't want to spend time away from the babies. And if that other alternative didn't work, then I wouldn't be here today. So I wanted to just throw everything at it. And I went in, and you guys weren't even with me. I didn't even get to hold a loved one's hand because I was going to walk out of the hospital, but just something said, just do it. Just go in and do it. And surgery scares the crap out of me. And I remember even a week before, when I was getting IV, because I was already preparing my body for the natural therapy. And I feel like God brought this angel into my life, this other doctor. She just started talking to me, and she said, "You're terrified." And it was my secret. Nobody could tell. I was really, really happy, but secretly scared. And she said, "I worked in a hospital for many years. And if you do go through with that surgery, you have to be your mind has to be in a different state of gratitude and love and, just trust in God, because when you are terrified and you go into surgery, I've seen so many people not wake up." And she said, "This is a big one." And
I remember you walking out of that office telling me that.
Yeah, and I said,
I didn't even know what to tell you because I didn't really have a response.
It was crazy.
I mean, what do you say when, somebody says that? There's no...
The facts.
I mean, I wanted to say, I know you're going to come out, and I did. I believed that in my heart. I believed everything was going to be okay, but it was looming, and it was coming, and we knew the surgery was coming, and it just didn't feel like a good time to say anything.
Tried to walk out. But can I just tell you that I had to say goodbye to my family over FaceTime, and I said, "I'm doing it." And they're all looking at me in shock, "But you have a flight tomorrow to another country." And I just thought about it, and the love and the support from my family. Maybe that natural therapy, it does work, and it's worked for many people, but I couldn't imagine being away from my newborn baby and my little baby. I knew that they wanted to put me in for the chemo, but in my heart of hearts, I knew that we could do everything that needed to be done and I wouldn't have to do it. And they looked at me like I was nuts. But I felt this calm, this hug, this vision of me with the kids in the future. And I'm telling you, like, I should have been so scared, and I was so calm, and so I felt so loved and so warm, and it was the weirdest, craziest, most beautiful feeling before I went into that surgery. And I know 100% my gratitude, my connectiveness to God, that was there. This is why I'm getting emotional.
I felt horrible because I dropped you off and I was trying to race
up?
back.
You were going to pick me up.
Well, I was trying to race back before you went into surgery and I couldn't make it back in time. And so you had to, by the time I got back, they said she's already in. She's already in there. I mean, so when I said bye to you before that, it was kind of a casual bye.
I didn't think you were going to come.
I was like, I'll be right back. You know, I was basically telling you I'll be right back.
Yeah.
You know, you know what the hardest thing to do is if you're grateful for life, if you're just grateful for your life, you have to be grateful for both the good and the bad.
Right.
You can't have one without the other. There's
Right.
no lightness without darkness.
That's right.
It can't happen. So you have to be grateful for all those periods in your life. If you're going into the holiday and you're complaining and you got to just find that place.
You have to, yes.
Of gratitude so that it can take you out of that, because it's not you can't have both states at the same time.
Right.
And if you go into the holidays, especially, we're talking about why we celebrate the holidays, you gotta be grateful for everything, that not only the holiday, but if you have your family or if you're having a roof over your head, find things to be grateful for. Because I'm grateful every day, and we say it every single day. We're grateful for the roof over our head.
Yes.
We're grateful for our kids. We're grateful for the things that we have in our life. And we've said that, and we need to say that, and we should always say that in both the good times and the bad.
Right. And a lot of people, they say, you just have to switch that little, just click it. I have to clean my house today. No, you get to clean your house. You have a roof over your house.
Okay, I'm going to work on that one.
You get to
I'm
mop.
working on that
you get
one.
to help me vacuum and mop.
I've been avoiding that whole mop thing for like
it's okay.
2 weeks, 3 weeks now.
Okay. No, I
get to mop.
He's never mopped.
I've never.
But I'm just saying, like, I take pride in taking care of my home, and it really doesn't take long. And I just have a hard time being someone
I do
900.
help in other areas.
I'm really good at cleaning, and I'm like, hey, can you maybe mop today? Or you do other things, and just sometimes when my back is sore, I'm like, hey, can you help me do this? And I hope you don't feel like I'm trying to gang up on you and make you do something you don't want to do, but I guess just the other, well, I hope not. Just sometimes when I'm hurting, I need a little help.
Yeah,
and
I do help.
Yeah,
in other areas, I don't know how to mop.
Okay, well, the kids will help me. It doesn't.
Okay, we'll talk offline about it.
It's not a big deal, but. What was I going to say? Oh, and then, how they say, oh, I have to pick up the kids at school. We don't do that because we homeschool, but you get to pick up your children. I mean, people are still praying to have babies. I could never imagine complaining about my babies not one time, because how long did it take for me? I mean, you don't know the journey, but it took me a long, long time to get pregnant, and I couldn't imagine throwing that.
Hold on, I'm lost. I didn't know the journey, but it took you a long time to get pregnant. What do you mean? I was in the journey. I was on the journey. What are you talking about? I was totally confused. Anyways, the more, and I've heard that this from somebody a while ago, and I'm probably going to butcher it.
Women, they blame themselves.
I'm going to butcher this. But the more you're grateful, the more you'll be have to be grateful for, the
Yeah.
more
Yeah, that's
you
true.
will get. Have you heard that before?
Yeah. If you're grateful
I'm sure
for
I
the
butchered that somehow.
No, if you're grateful for the littlest things, which we should be, then it's like God will see how grateful you are for the little things, and then he'll see, wait till you see what I have planned for you.
And I believe that too, because there were so many
Yeah.
times. It's one thing. It's the one thing that I think I've always been pretty good at. Like there's a lot of things I'm horrible at, but I've always been. I remember in the journey of building our company, along the way,
Yes.
horrible moments. Not being able to pay rent, losing things going, being repossessed, all kinds of things going on, and during that journey, I've always found a way to be grateful. I was always grateful along those steps. And I honestly believe with every bone in my body that that's the reason why we were given.
100%.
Because I wasn't as close to God as I should have been in some of those, but I was always grateful.
Right.
I'd always found a place to be grateful for everything that we did have
Right.
and what was going right for us on our journey, and what was and understanding what was going wrong, and not complaining and just being grateful. I never complain. That's one thing I try never to do.
Yeah, that's how I grew up too. And it was scary to complain because I knew and I understood how hard our family worked to put bread on the table. So we were grateful for everything. Oh, and that's another thing I love about our family tradition is that our kids have a strict rule of 3 presents. And maybe that sounds awful because I know as parents,
Three.
we do.
Maximum 3 presents.
Did I say minimum?
No, but you did when we remember.
Maybe we were
remember,
talking. I'm
remember
tired.
when we were
As I
talking
said,
about it a couple of weeks ago,
Right.
and you said, remember. She put me on notice. Remember, we have a minimum of 3 presents. And I was like, okay, hold on, I'm confused.
It's mommy
Say
brain.
again, what'd you say? And she goes, a minimum of 3 presents.
Maximum.
And I'm like, so you want me to go in and tell all my family members,
No.
remember, there's a minimum of 3 presents. If you're going to be family, it's a minimum of 3 presents. And then you were like, no, tell your family it's a maximum of 3 presents.
Yeah,
Anyways, it was a funny moment.
I guess it's good. It's good. We're the cheap family. You don't really have to. But it's not about that because they have so much joy. They're not like, oh, what's next? They're so grateful for the 3 presents. And I don't want when they have too much, because they have toys. I mean, we get them toys and it adds up and there's this clutter. And I watched these reels of these parents that, they buy tons and tons and tons of toys. And it's just this overwhelming clutter of stress and hoarding.
Yeah,
and
what do you
and
do
they
with it
end
all?
up, I think the dad got so mad that he scooped everything up with a shovel and threw it in the trash can. And I was like, I want my kids to truly appreciate every single thing that they get, and they do. And I'm so grateful for that they understand the work and the investment that goes into having toys.
Yeah.
Or whatever they have.
And
Their
that's
clothes, they
something that
take care of
everybody
good-
needs to think about during the holidays. What I hate to see, and I wouldn't want to give my kids so many presents that they literally don't appreciate them anymore.
Yeah.
They're
I love
looking
their
at them,
appreciation.
they're opening
that
them
they
up,
have.
and they're kind of like, another present, and they're just
Right.
opening them as fast as they can go, and they can't sit there and just open them. We want them to open a present and appreciate that present, and go. And one thing's for sure that we absolutely need to make sure happens, and that I believe we make sure this happens every year, is that when they get presents, before they open a second present, they go up and thank that person for that present
100%.
and
They're so sweet.
be appreciative right there on the spot, because I hate to have kids just ripping over presents and no gratitude going on. We got to balance that with gratitude. I think that's always important.
Yeah, I really do love. We didn't have an excessive presence when I was a child either, but I know how excited I was that my mom was able to do this for me. And I remember there was a few times when I got the replica of something, and in my head I was a little bit disappointed, but then I changed it to gratitude because I knew that she worked so hard to get that for me. I don't know if I could put that into words.
I know exactly what you're speaking about because, and you know what? I don't know if, you know, my parents were struggling during that time, but I never knew it because I never felt that. They never let me feel that.
Right.
And so when you always, you know, they always made sure that there was something under the tree.
Yeah.
And there was always, if I was asking for a bike, I got a bike.
Right.
It may not have been the exact bike that I wanted, but I got a bike, you know, and I was excited about that. And I always wanted that for my kids. But then balancing it, because it's so easy when you start to have money to just spoil them, to just buy everything that you always wanted. And I think that's so damaging to kids. It's dangerous. So I try not to get.
And then we have our traditions that they're really excited about: the dinner, the movies, the music, the dancing, and I want them to just be engaged and connect. We don't really do a lot of devices, but we have all the things we do. It's a party. It's a good atmosphere. And let me tell you that our heart still, for me, my brother, he passed in December. So December was always really hard, but I had to dig in to the blessing of being able to have him. So I know that there's a lot of people out there that are going through where it's like they're full of gratitude, full of joy, and that's okay. But then a part of your heart has that empty chair and the empty setting.
Yeah. And,
so
and you know what, and you can always, and we talked about this when you're on the day that your brother passed, but you know,
and now my mom, so there's two, and the little ones are going through it too. So I just really want to quickly say, so we have a couple little ornaments on the tree and we talk about them, and this is healing for us. Don't try follow your emotions in your heart, what makes you feel good. But for my babies, they love to talk about grandma, and they never met Uncle David, but they talk about him and they pray for him. And it's just this, like, I'm already smiling, that's what it does, is you're grateful for the legacy and the joy and the lessons that they brought into your life. And now think about this, how God has a God-given purpose for everybody. And my brother, my mother, they weren't able to finish everything that God had planned for them. They have your ancestors. Maybe you're meant to be the chain breaker of poverty or addiction or whatever else you may be facing, or you have some kind of other special mission in life, God-given mission.
I mean,
so
that's
you
all I was
focus on
gonna
those
say,
things.
Is that what we talked about on that day was that, having the gratitude to go, we were lucky enough to spend 18 years with him.
Yes, always.
And that's what got you through Christmas, is
100%.
that every year your mom, who, had to be reminded of that, had to find not necessarily the goodness in it, but just had to find something to be grateful for.
Exactly.
And that was it. That's what you have to sometimes be grateful for. Is I have to be grateful for that I got 18 years with him.
Exactly.
And that's hard to do. It's not easy to do. So we know everybody, if you want to, it's easy enough now with the internet to go, hey, you want to find something to be grateful for? I looked at some pictures yesterday of some people in Africa, and they were some people who we had given to, who sent over some pictures of them wearing shirts and things and clothing and other stuff, and just looking at them going, wow, they're probably, they might be sleeping on dirt floors.
They're so happy.
And they're happy.
Yeah.
And they're happy.
Yeah.
And yet we're complaining about because we don't have this or we don't have that or the lines are too long at, in Target or whatever that is
I can't complain about stuff like my mom was a child of war. So I understood her, please never waste food. We didn't have anything to eat. And she was just just so grateful to come to a country of opportunity and freedom. How amazing is that?
So,
How amazing is that?
Yeah, I heard
so
this.
lucky.
I heard this story of Ed Milet that he was talking about. He was in a restaurant with a friend of his, and his business was collapsing, or something was going on in his business, and his friend asked him, what in your life do you have to be grateful for right now? And he goes, nothing. I have nothing to be grateful for, right? Nothing is going right. Not necessarily just grateful, but he said, nothing is going right in my life right now. Nothing. And he goes, as if God teed it up. These two gentlemen walk in, both going through cancer treatments, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And,
I've heard this.
And
powerful.
and he just had to it just gripped his heart with, feeling that, how could I be saying this?
Yeah,
when these two
dangerous.
people
It's so
are coming
scary.
through on the edge of death, and I'm talking about losing a few things here or there.
No.
But I still have my health. That's it's when it's in those moments that you have to find so much gratitude.
Yeah.
You just in the hardest moments, which is the hardest time to find gratitude, is in the hardest moment.
Dang, he
But
must
you
have felt
to find
so much guilt, because when you're going through that fight, you really are not. Nothing's guaranteed. And I feel like people going through the fight are so grateful because they understand that concept of every second is a blessing. It's a gift. It's a gift that you don't understand. And I understood it already with my brother passing. He wasn't sick. He was the strongest, healthiest, most handsome teenager in the world. And he just died in a tragic death. These things can happen. So maybe you're not taking care of your health. Maybe, of course, it's almost expected. Things can happen, but it can also happen to the best and youngest, just a tragic accident. So you better believe we got to be grateful.
Yeah, and people are talking about these little things during Christmas. I think there's a real connection between gratitude and happiness.
Oh, yeah. As I said, you can't feel any other emotion if you're truly grateful.
But I think it leads into it stops the complaining. I think when you feel gratitude, but there's this part where you flip the switch, you're grateful, and then all of a sudden as that starts to pass, you're still grateful, but then it turns to happiness, and all of a sudden you're like, why am I so happy here? Why am I in such a good mood right now?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. And I feel as a mother, oh God, I'm so grateful to be a mom. I'm so grateful because it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I hope that they know that and they remember that forever. But there's just something so special about being a parent and having that opportunity to raise and pour into someone. And they're just so innocent and so loving and so wonderful. I mean, thank God we're talking to parents, because if we weren't, they wouldn't get it. But especially if you had a hard time conceiving and getting to the spot of having the miracle, you just feel that much more blessed to be a parent. Yeah. Wow. Why am I getting so emotional? It's just when I truly feel gratitude, this is what happens to me.
Well, it's the happiness cry. The happiness cry. Okay, that's okay.
Oh boy.
So what are some of the things that we do to stay grateful? Well, we talked about in the morning. We always do. We have the kids speak about gratitude.
Yeah,
and
we
what they're
have them
grateful
name
for.
the things that they're grateful for, and then we do a morning prayer,
also.
and we do a morning prayer, but then we also do extra gratitude, and then we do it at night. And I feel like just really being connected to the things around you, the people around you. And for me, it's my children. They do it every time. They're just little angels and blessings, and I'm so
I think if you sit
That
down also
triggers
too,
me.
there's an exercise, somebody, it might be Tony Robbins or somebody tells you to go through it, to sit down
And
and
write.
just write down
Yes.
as many things as you can about what you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And he says you'll be surprised how long you continue writing for.
Yeah, I have a gratitude journal. I mean, I should say that. It's a gratitude journal.
Right. That's truly what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
And if we can all just be intentional about that, I mean, you have to be intentional because because if you let your minds wander, it's easy to wander into this complaining, thoughtful attitude.
Right. And someone out there might be saying, listen, I'm going through this, that, and the other. And believe me, we can relate. But just try to think about this, that God has a plan and he wouldn't give you anything that you can't handle. And sometimes even the bad things that happen in your life, if you allow it, God will make you better. And you can be grateful about that, because suffering produces perseverance, perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. Now that we have overcome that journey, we are the voice for the people that are struggling. We are an example. We are the hope through God's blessing to help someone out there. For me, even for me, I was searching for that one I was looking for people online. Let me find a survivor. Let me find a survivor. Let me connect with someone that's been through it. And I just kind of felt like I just gave up, because I'm like following their story and then they don't make it. And that's hard to follow. I just needed one person. And then God, I think when we're going through the whole thing, we had connected to Joel Osteen, but I didn't know until later that his mother survived cancer without treatment, and she's still alive. What did she just turn? 93?
I don't know, somewhere.
I want to say 93. I could be wrong. Please don't penalize me, but she's alive and she's healthy, and her mind is right. Everything is perfect, and that's all I need. I just needed that one person to look up to. So when you overcome whatever it is that you're meant to overcome, be grateful, because you now are the example. You now are the voice, and you now are the inspiration for someone suffering.
That's awesome. So if you guys are going through anything, and we all have bad moments, I promise you, if you're watching Instagram or TikTok and thinking that, people are without bad moments in their life, I don't care what they have, or, more money or whatever that might be.
Everybody's going through something.
Believe me,
sure.
Everybody goes through this
Absolutely.
stuff. Know that you're in good company.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, just be intentional about gratitude during the season and during
it'll help you.
all
It's
year
like
round.
medicine. It really, truly is.
And if you know anybody who this might help, if you know anybody that you can share this with that is maybe going through something right now and you'd like to share this with them, please do that. And
Or you're
if
just
you have
getting
a story,
more intentional about your gratitude.
yeah, and
like
if you're getting
me.
intentional
Oh my goodness.
and you're practicing it and you have a story and you want to share it with us, share it with us. And we'd love to read your story and understand what's going on in your life, because it helps us.
Mm-hmm.
Because we read other people's stories and it helps us as people. We find other people are going through different things, different than us. Everybody's going through stuff. And that's why reading and watching what other people are doing sometimes, when you learn those lessons from other people, we're all constantly learning.
Yeah.
So if you know anybody you can share this with, we appreciate you tuning in and we appreciate you sharing. And we'll catch you next week.
One more thing. I don't know. I just felt called to share this little thing. I've been noticing this more and more through social media, is people are actually sharing their hard times on social media. And I know that I was hiding everything, but they're asking for prayer for themselves or their children. Maybe they're going through an illness or something, but they're actually asking for prayers. I do love this trend, because if I see it, I feel like I was meant to see this, and I will pray. If Daniel's near me, I'm like, let's pray for this person because their daughter is going through, RS. that breathing, oh my goodness, I can't even believe I can't think of it, but that breathing, that contagious breathing thing that the little babies are going through right now. So Daniel's like, okay, I'll pray with you. So I just have the courage. The more people praying for you, the more powerful the healing. And I truly believe in the power of prayer. So God bless you guys. It was so good to talk to you guys this week, and we'll see you again
Absolutely.
next week.
See you guys next week.
You've been listening to this episode of the Pretty and Punk podcast. We have more, so much more. Make sure to listen to them and make sure to subscribe. Thank you for listening to the Pretty and Punk podcast. Always say your prayers and be healthy. God bless. See you next time.